Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So the last update about Unfortunate Love was how Rishi put the poison blame on himself to free Lakshmi, and Lakshmi was freed from prison and Rishi was taken to the prison. So let's continue from there. After Rishi was arrested and taken to the prison, Malishka comes to Lakshmi and wipes her tears. She says, "You are crying. I should cry because I love Rishi and I feel the pain and it's odd." She asks a guy that where is he taking the sweet. The guy says, "My boy is freed from the terrorist." Malishka takes the sweet and force feed it in Lakshmi's mouth and says, "You got successful in your mission," and she asks her not to pretend in front of her. Malishka says to Lakshmi that you are pretending to cry and you are doing drama because Rishi went to jail. She says, "Nicely done, great job," and she asks, "How did you do this?" and says, "What did you tell Rishi? That he took your crime on his head?" Ahana says Rishi did it by himself and nobody forced him. Malishka says Rishi did this, seeing Lakshmi's tears, and she asks, "If this is your love, you trap Rishi, you are clever." She says Rishi went to jail due to you. Lakshmi asks Malishka if she is done and says Rishi knows who I am and how is my love. She says I don't need to make anyone understand it. Lakshmi tells Malishka that she feels that she knows she and Rishi's love, but Malishka doesn't want to accept it. She says, "I told you 1,000 times to see yourself in the mirror before telling me anything." Malishka says this is the real Lakshmi, and she asks if she did not know that Rishi would do this. Grandma says if Lakshmi had known that Rishi would put the blame on himself, then Lakshmi wouldn't have let Rishi do this. Malishka shouted at Grandma and tells her that Lakshmi knew about it because Lakshmi was confident that Rishi would free her. Ayu says whatever Rishi said, nobody knows about it. Grandma says Lakshmi can give her life for Rishi, so she will not send him to jail. Malishka says you don't know Lakshmi. Grandma says she has experience and she asks Malishka to stop it, else she would ask her parents to make her quiet. Ayu says to Malishka that this is the height of it. He says if someone is hearing, then they should make Malishka hear and understand. Malishka says some people are inauspicious and they splashes inauspicious things in Rishi's life. Shalu asks Malishka to stop it and says don't utter any word against my sister. Shalu says to Malishka that my tongue is long like yours, but I am not saying anything due to my sister, else I would have shown you how much I can say. Ayu says no, Shalu. He asks her not to become like Malishka and says you are good the way you are. Ahana says sister-in-law is silent and she is peaceful and we need to be good to her too. Devika tells Malishka that she should understand where to talk and what to say. Grandma asks Lakshmi to have courage. Sonia says Lakshmi doesn't care for Rishi. Ahana argues with Sonia. Ayush asks Sonia to calm down and think about Lakshmi and says Rishi is lucky to get such a good life partner like Lakshmi. Malishka says to Ayush that Rishi is unlucky that he got such a brother like you and says when he has a brother like you, then he doesn't need enemies. Lakshmi and Ayush says Malishka. Malishka asks Ayush to mind his actions. She says whatever is happening here is happening due to Ayush and says you have pushed Rishi to come near Lakshmi. Ayush says to Malishka that I wish that you would have been a guy, then I would have mended your ways with one action. He says I am very proud that I brought Rishi and Lakshmi closer. And he asks, who are you? What is your work in our house? You stay in our house all your life. And what is Rishi's relationship with you? Karishma asks Ayush to shut up and says, shut up all of you. She says, Ayush, you know well that Rishi is everything to Malishka. Malishka loves Rishi. She says this Lakshmi came yesterday and Malishka was in Rishi's life from long back. Kiran says we need to wait for some time. Legally, Malishka would also become Rishi's wife. Abe asks Ayush to ask Lakshmi the same question that who is she to Rishi. Ayush says no, such thing will never happen, trust me, because Lakshmi is already Rishi's wife. Malishka says I never imagined that the Oberoi family will go to this extent for this girl Lakshmi, and she plays a victim card. Grandma asks them to fight and cut each other with sword. She says who has started the fight? Malishka says Grandma. Grandma says she is feeling unwell hearing Malishka's nonsense. Lakshmi asks Grandma not to listen to Malishka and says Rishi will come back soon. Karishma hugs and pacifies Malishka and Malishka gets revengeful. Virendra calls Neelam. Neelam says my son went to jail in front of me and I couldn't do anything. Virendra says Rishi is my son also. Neelam says if Rishi was your son, then why didn't you do anything? And says as long as Lakshmi is here, nobody can do anything. Virendra asks that what is Lakshmi's mistake in this? Neelam says you have become blind and you couldn't see the truth. Virendra says to Neelam that you have become blind and you couldn't see Lakshmi's goodness which Rishi could see. He says nobody knows that Rishi was doing this, not even Lakshmi knew. Neelam says Rishi is so understanding, then why did he take such a step? She says we are like two sides of the river which can never unite. Virendra says you are seeing the two sides, but I can see the water which connects Rishi and Lakshmi together. Neelam says she doesn't want to argue and she asks Virendra to leave, and Virendra goes away from there. Ayush and Lakshmi bring Grandma to her room. Ayush asks Grandma not to feel bad about Malishka's bad. Lakshmi make Grandma have the medicine. Ayush says you are the best, Grandma. Grandma says Lakshmi is the bestest and I am the second best. Malishka comes to meet Rishi in prison and she hugs him. She says she feels sorry for him. Rishi says whatever I did is with my heart and says the mind listens to the heart. Malishka says to Rishi that if you had told me, then I would have gone to jail instead of you and I would have gotten Lakshmi freed too. Rishi thanks Malishka and says Lakshmi is my responsibility. Malishka says nobody loves Rishi like her. Rishi says Lakshmi and he asks that how is Lakshmi? Malishka says Lakshmi is at home and she is happy. Rishi says I know that Lakshmi is not happy without me. Malishka asks if Rishi loves her. Rishi says I like Lakshmi. She is really good and maybe I love her. Lakshmi prays to God and says Rishi is in trouble because of me. She asks that why are you taking my test, God? She says she is happy that Rishi loves her a lot and he went to jail to save her. She says I know that Rishi cares for me a lot and this proves that he will never break the promise made to me and he will fulfill the promises always. She says I have to bring Rishi out of jail somehow and I will not let him stay in jail. Rishi says to Malishka that I really don't know what I am feeling. Malishka says the answer is just one and she asks Rishi to choose one of her fingers. She thinks that if Rishi hold my first finger, then it means that Rishi loves Lakshmi. But if Rishi hold another finger, then this means that Rishi doesn't love Lakshmi. Malishka put her fingers up, but Rishi hold Malishka's first finger and Malishka is shocked. At home, Ayush asks Lakshmi not to take tension. Lakshmi says she knows how it feels to stay in jail and says Rishi has fulfilled his promise. She says she has promised herself that she will get Rishi freed and she would expose the guilty person who have mixed poison in the food. She says I have to save the Obrey's family's respect and also the business. Lakshmi asks Ayush if he will support her. Ayush says I would always be with you and he tells her that if he could get her name, then he would have named himself as Ayush Lakshmi Obrey. Lakshmi says you are talking like Shalu. Ayush asks Lakshmi that what is the plan and Lakshmi says God has the plan. Rishi asks Malishka to talk. Malishka lied and says you don't love Lakshmi according to the chosen finger. She asks what would you like to hear and says you love Lakshmi according to the chosen finger. She asks if Rishi wants to hear this. Rishi says I want to know the truth and he tells her that he really likes Lakshmi. Malishka gets angry and says to Rishi that you don't love Lakshmi, right? The inspector asks Malishka to come out. Malishka refuses. Rishi says this is a police station. They might not let you come again. Malishka asks, do you want to meet me again? Rishi says yes. Malishka says I will come again and she goes. Rishi thinks that I held the first finger and says I love you, Lakshmi. In prison, Rishi is thinking that why has Lakshmi not come to meet him? He thinks that Lakshmi is upset that I came to jail. He thinks that he is feeling lonely and Lakshmi would have come to give him some strength. He thinks that Lakshmi will come. Lakshmi asks Ayush if the police will let her meet Rishi. Ayush says yes, but you were angry with Rishi because he took the blame and went to jail. Lakshmi says to Ayush that Rishi has given me strength and now it is my turn. Ayush says let's go. Shalu comes there and says even I will come. Ayush says who are you? Shalu says Rishi is my brother-in-law. Sonia asks Shalu why did she come here? Shalu says there might be a reason because I have come here. Sonia says this is my house and I don't need to learn from you and she calls Shalu illiterate. Virendra asks Sonia that how is she talking to Shalu? He tells her that Lakshmi is his daughter and Shalu is Lakshmi's sister and says he will not bear anyone's insult from here onward. Lakshmi asks Virendra about Neelam. Virendra says Neelam is angry. Lakshmi says I made her angry. Virendra says time is a healer and says I'm going to meet Rishi. Lakshmi stopped Virendra from going to meet Rishi in prison and says you will break to see him there and says when you are with us, we can overcome any problem. She asked Virendra to stay back for mommy and says she also needs you. Virendra says I hope Neelam would understand this and it goes back inside. Shalu teases Ayush. Lakshmi says I will come back soon. Ayush thinks to do some work and thinks if he actually has some work. Shalu comes to the kitchen to drink water. Sonia snatches the water bottle from her. Shalu asks, what is this? Sonia asks Shalu not to take advantage of her dad's goodness. Shalu says you like Malishka. Sonia says yes, she likes Malishka and says you get to do time pass here in a big house and to also have free food and you are happy. Shalu says to Sonia that we also had even more bigger house than this and says we did not make our father feel ashamed like you have done. Karishma comes there and scolds Shalu. Shalu says I haven't done anything. Karishma says we did a mistake to let you come here. Shalu says you do big mistakes and says you let my sister stay in jail and that is a bigger sin. Sonia says to Shalu that at least Lakshmi is not like Shalu because Lakshmi doesn't argue with us. Shalu says at least you see Lakshmi's goodness. Ayush asks Shalu what happened. He asks if anyone told her something. Shalu says to Ayush that Sonia was enough, but your mom also came there. Ayush asks, did you scold my mom? Shalu says yes. Ayush asks Shalu not to do anything and be quiet. Shalu asks Ayush if it was a mistake that everyone are looking for her trouble. She tells Ayush that she was drinking water, but Sonia snatched the glass from her hand and scolded her. Then Ayush's mom also scolded her. Ayush says don't give them a chance to say anything. He says why did you talk to them? Balvinda tells Gudu that he is a dog and he just barks. He says I told Lakshmi that I have proof and I can save Rishi, but she is behind Rishi. He says he will kill Rishi and he throws things around. Gudu says don't break the things in my house. He says you will get 1,000 girls apart from Lakshmi. Balvinda says I just need Lakshmi. Gudu asks if Balvinda is in love with Lakshmi. Balvinda says yes, I did not love my old wives and Neha this much and says when I close my eyes, all I see is Lakshmi. Lakshmi come back and sees Ayush and Shalu arguing. Ayush asks Lakshmi to give some good values to Shalu. Lakshmi says Rishi might be waiting for her in jail and Ayush says that he has a surprise for Rishi. Balvinda says to Gudu that he saw a rich girl in this locality and says he doesn't regret to lose the rich girl and he just wants Lakshmi. He says I just want Lakshmi. Gudu says don't worry, you will get Lakshmi. Lakshmi comes to the police station and says she wants to meet Rishi Oberoi. The inspector says we cannot allow many visitors in a day and says just now, Malishka seen Betty had come here. Shalu and Ayush ask the inspector to let them meet Rishi. Shalu says I will be here. Let both of them meet Rishi and the inspector gives them 10 minutes. Ayush asks Lakshmi if she forgot about the surprise. Lakshmi asks if they are right. Ayush says we are doing this for Rishi's happiness. Shalu says Ayush is an idiot. The inspector asks Lakshmi to go and meet Rishi. Lakshmi says she will meet Rishi after Ayush meets him. The inspector says just 9 more minutes is left and Lakshmi asks Ayush to go and meet Rishi. Ayush comes inside and meets Rishi. Rishi asks that where is Lakshmi? Ayush says Lakshmi did not come because she has some work. Rishi gets angry and says Lakshmi has more important work than me. Ayush says I am missing you very much. You don't want to talk to me and you want to talk about my sister-in-law. Shalu asks Lakshmi to sit and says you are going to meet brother-in-law soon. Lakshmi says to Shalu that I was lonely when I was here and I need a lot of courage to stay here and I know Rishi is feeling the same. Shalu says you have come to give him courage. Ayush says to Rishi that it is me, your dear brother and your friend. He says one day in school, we have done things together. Rishi interrupts and says I don't want to meet anyone until I see Lakshmi. Ayush says to Rishi that you met Malishka, so that should be enough. Rishi says it is good that Malishka came. The constable comes there and asks Rishi to go to the meeting area because a lady came to meet him. Rishi refuses to meet the lady, but he later agreed and he goes there. Lakshmi keeps her hand on Rishi's eyes. Rishi identifies her, but he pretends and says, Malishka, you have come back. Lakshmi gets sad and says, you want to meet Malishka? Rishi says he has sensed Lakshmi's presence and he was just joking with her. Lakshmi tries to go, but Rishi pulls her closer and smiles. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, share it, and also check the comment section for the link to the next update once it is available. And I will see you all again in my next video. Bye guys.